who really, they didn't have the capacity to do such wonderful things, but because their purpose was right. Kolavecha Sridhar, he just sold banana leaves. But because his purpose was always for Krishna, even though nobody cared anything about him, the Lord had gave him the highest treasure. The Lord worshipped him. So all this incredible efforts to smear all these cows with a mixture of turmeric and oil, mixed with a varieties of minerals, their heads bedecked with peacock feathers, and they were garlanded and covered with cloth and golden ornaments. Later on, Krishna put peacock feather on his hair. But even before that, at least in the chronology of this particular avatar of Krishna, the cows were wearing peacock feathers. Haribo. Because they were the most beautiful thing in Vrindavan. They were natural. And what was the purpose? To make them happy. The cows were happy. Was it the peacock feathers and the turmeric and the oil and the gold and the silver that made the cows happy? Cows don't know the value of those things. Yes? I mean, I used to take care of cows. If you give a cow a gold necklace, she'll probably start eating it. Doesn't really know, and then she'll probably spit it out and think, give me some grass. Cow would rather have grass than a gold necklace, because he can eat grass. Now humans, we like gold necklaces. But if you're hungry and there's nothing else to eat, your gold necklace has no value at all. You would trade all the gold in the world in for one chapati if you were starving. Yes? Because things have a value according to our perception. We put values on things. Just like in one place in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it describes how gold is like the stool of somebody who has jaundice. It's the same thing. Because it becomes very yellow. I don't know if you ever had jaundice, and even if you did, I don't know if you analyzed. But it's true. So we're putting gold on the deities. So somebody once asked me, according to the Bhagavatam, you're putting yellow, jaundice, diseased stool on the deities. But no, we're putting gold on the deities. Krishna's, in other words, the value of a thing is in our appreciation, in our perception. Oftentimes, if things come cheap, we don't really value it, and we don't really take care of it. So the struggles that are coming, for whatever, even learning. We put a lot of effort, and we want to maintain it. We understand this is a gift. In this regard, the cows, what makes them happy is not the gold and the silver and the turmeric and the oil and the various minerals. It's the love. And love is not a cheap thing, either to receive or to give. If all they had was some grass to give the cows, and they gave it with love, the cows would be happy. But because they had facility for all these other things, by giving all those things to the cows, they had to have a lot of love for the cows. They had to have a lot of concern for the cows. They had to really have a lot of love for Krishna to give all this to the cows. Yes? To give diamonds and rubies and emeralds and jewels to cows and then give the cows away. If that's what you're doing for Krishna, it takes love. So the cows were happy because they were getting so much love and care. But the love and care was being expressed in very real ways by giving the most valuable things they had. To love and care for someone is not a ritual either. It has to be real. And the cows, they were happy because they could actually feel the love. They could actually feel it. Now Vasudeva, he was doing the same thing with cows in his mind because he had nothing. And Krishna was feeling this more or less the same thing. Because he was doing it with love, even though he had nothing. It was all mental. But for sure, if you have something, then to offer it mentally without also giving it, it's useless. It's useless. It should be done mentally, but the mentally should be harmonized with the actual act. Then it's real. And if we don't have the things, then the sentiment is perfect and complete in itself. So yes, cows don't know what gold, silver, and jewels are. And of course, but it felt so good to them because it was offered with it was offered with love for Krishna and for them. It was like Mahaprasad. And Srila Prabhupada is explaining here, during the time of Maharaj Parikshit, because the cows were so happy that everywhere cows were, there was mud. And the mud wasn't because of rain coming down from a mountain. It was because the cows just had so much love. They couldn't contain all the motherly love in the form of milk that was pouring out of their udders. Yes, when you'd come to milk the cow, she would fill up your buckets. But when you weren't milking, she was giving it anyway because of her love. Because she was protected. Mad bhakta pujapyatika. Krishna says, worship of those who I love, my devotees, is even more dear to me than worshiping me. So little Gopal, can you imagine how happy he is to see all these cows smiling? And all the people were smiling. The people were smiling because the cows were smiling. And the cows were smiling because ultimately Krishna was happy. Everyone was happy because there's love and care. So this is not only an incredible explanation of the celebration of Krishna's birth, but also teaches us on our level how we can celebrate Krishna. We can celebrate Krishna's appearance within our lives, within our temple, within our community, at every moment. We may not be able to give everyone, all kinds of necklaces and jewels, but we understand the principle is making sacrifice to show love, to show care, to show concern. That's the real celebration of bhakti. And that's what we find here at Nandotsava. And Srila Prabhupada explains in the Gita how it's so important for everybody according to their particular status in society to understand what pleases Krishna. And for Nanda and his community, protecting, pleasing, taking care of the cows and each other was how Krishna was pleased. It's not that the cows were protected and all the Brijabasis were neglected. Sometimes we just like cow protection. So, we very nice to the cows, and then we were very rude and critical and mean to devotees, to humans. That's not the spirit. Cows are dear to Krishna. Devotees are also equally dear to Krishna. And ultimately, every living being is dear to Krishna. So how we treat each other is very much a part of cow protection. Nanda Maharaj made all the Brahmins happy. He made all the cows happy. He made all the Kshatriyas and Vaishyas and Shudras and everybody was happy. Because he was a leader. And we're all meant to strive to be leaders like this. And it was all ultimately because this is what makes Krishna happy. Love, care, expressed through real gestures of sacrifice and service to purify our hearts, to purify the world. That is Krishna consciousness. Is there any questions? Very fast.